Claudia Tenney joins us now to talk more about this. I mean, that is the question. A lot of people, including, as we talked earlier with a guest, the Russian or the Ukrainian president said, we need the sanctions. We don't need them after the bombs fall. We need the sanctions now. This was last week, and we need them to be harsh so that at least President Putin can feel the pinch before he makes that final decision. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. The House Foreign Affairs Committee actually proposed a sanctions package that was crippling and would have been much more severe than what the Biden administration initially proposed, and it was rejected by the Democrats. And unfortunately, the Biden administration is, a little bit too late here. We've got this terrible invasion by Putin, which is murderous. We've got unverified reports that already Ukrainian military members have been killed. And this is just unbelievable that this is happening. And we are in a position where, President Biden should be speaking. I agree with former Congressman and my colleague, Jason Chaffetz. President Biden should be speaking to the American people right now as this incredible and absolutely tragic situation is happening in Europe. And the worst situation, certainly since World War II. And what does this say about the UN as the Russians are still part of a permanent member of the UN Security Council and our president at this point, where an organization that is supposed to be preserving the world's peace and providing security is now invading a sovereign country and killing innocent people throughout that country. It's just unprecedented at this point in the modern era.
Congresswoman, you have mentioned that you think President Biden should have taken to the airwaves earlier this morning or now or sometime in the next few hours. It looks like it'll be probably in the next 10, 11 hours before we actually see the president come live. And he will talk about more sanctions, what he's going to call and has called severe sanctions. Is it enough? I mean, what would you say if you were giving guidance to the president? What would you do? Are the severe sanctions going to be any kind of solution to what we're seeing on the ground right now?
Well, as we know, it's now late to impose sanctions. We're put in a very bad situation. These crippling sanctions should have been done before the invasion occurred. And there were a lot of reports that this was just going to be the two eastern provinces, but now we see that the shelling is going on and there's a complete invasion of the entire country of Ukraine. And I'm not sure that even crippling sanctions, as some of your prior guests have pointed out, North Korea, other countries and Iran have continued on even with severe sanctions. But we must continue to, put as crippling as sanctions economically as we can. I proposed a bill that would remove Russia, to not give them a forum and to preside in an international forum on U.S. soil as the head of as the president of the UN Security Council. I know this is a really tough and maybe almost impossible move, but we used to have to use every diplomatic play that we have, every economic play that we have. And unfortunately, as many of your guests have pointed out, we need to be ahead of the game on cyber. Russia is ahead of us. They're setting a stage and a template for future invasions by Russia, by China, into Taiwan, and potentially emboldening our adversaries around the world, just showing how easy it is to just walk in and take over another country by force. This is just something that is going to be very difficult for us to gauge over the next few days, or especially the next steps. But I'm not sure these sanctions may be too little too late at this point, and whether we're going to have to be engaging with some of our troops that are already deployed, at least providing some assistance in Poland and the Baltic states and other areas of Eastern Europe, which I'm certain are very concerned about what's happening tonight as innocent people are being killed in Ukraine by a murderous dictator, Vladimir Putin.
When you say troop involvement, United States troop involvement, exactly what do you mean in Poland, Congresswoman?
Well, in many ways, I don't think that a direct involvement, but, some kind of support from those other countries. That some of the things that we have done in the past when we rolled back out of Iraq and other places, we only provided support. I'm not sure if that is even an option at this point, but we have to look at every option. We cannot tolerate this type of activity happening on European soil. And while we're weak, the United States' economy is obviously with the inflation at 40-year high, Gas prices in California are over $5, going to $6 or $7. We're hearing, and this is only helping Putin. Our energy independence has been slashed by, closing and shutting down the Keystone Pipeline. Finally, the Biden administration decided to do something about the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which they had green-lighted earlier. Energy independence is really important. This is a serious situation we're in. While we're talking about the Green New Deal and implementing that, and so is many members in the European community are talking about shutting off our ability to have an all-of-the-above strategy when it comes to energy. And if they cut off the electrification in Ukraine and their ability to get water and power and food, this is going to be a serious crisis. And this is going to, again, be a template for other would-be dictators that might be empowered by what Vladimir Putin is doing. And this is just simply diabolical.
Yeah, and that's my next question is, you mentioned China. You talk about President Xi. You know that he is looking at this and he's thinking about Taiwan. And, it's a pickle for the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just concerned that we are projecting weakness. We have a president who should be in front of the world today as the leader of the free world. He should be in front of us right now with harsh sanctions immediately. We shouldn't be waiting and reassessing tomorrow. This has got to be done now. And we should be looking at every option to stop Vladimir Putin, because this is just one foot in the door with one dictator. We have dictators and adversaries around the world who are going to continue to provide, to threaten us. And again, what is the UN? We spend billions of dollars on this organization that is really not giving us more than a bureaucratic response and giving an international stage and credibility to people like Vladimir Putin and the Russians, while the Ukrainians are being killed before our eyes right now, today, here and now.
Here and now. Yeah. Congresswoman Tenney, thank you for joining us. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you.